Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Come in, guys. I would like for you all to share the live, and we're going to be giving key tips and discussions with the youth in Marion, South Carolina. I am Marcus White, your current chairman of the youth for the Marion County Democratic Party, and I will be running for re-election with along with some of these great people who will be in these panel discussions today. During this panel, I ask everyone to please remain unbiased in their comments and messages, and we're here to discuss public matters and gain insight into what's important to you all in the chat today. We have someone monitoring the chat, so please post any questions that you may have, and we'll be sure to reach them and answer them all in the end. And we're standing on the topic from policy to progress. We're addressing the key issues facing Marion County youth today. Today, joined me will be Mr. Daniel James II, as well as Mr. Nigeria Hannah. Both of these young men are highly qualified candidates for chairman for the Youth Democratic Party in Marion County. Mr. Daniel James II, a Marion County native and Cornell University graduate, currently serves as the Digital Communications Fellow, commitment to help young people better shape their communities in future. And Mr. Nigeria Hannah is a monetary science study student at Piedmont Technical College and associate minister at the Bethlehem AME Church, driven by faith and long life passion for justice. Nigeria is focused on uplifting the voices, mobilizing young voters, and helping his community upfront the challenges it have head on. So right now, we'd like to invite Mr. Nigeria Hannah and Mr. Daniel James II to the chat. How are you all today?
Doing well. How about you, Marcus?
I'm
Doing
doing
well. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. So listen, we wanted to go ahead and start off with a good start. So I will give each of you all 2 minutes to answer, y'all questions that I do have for y'all today. Now I can start off with a question and you can give a response, and I could go to Mr. Nigeria. How would you like for that to happen?
Either way is fine, buddy.
All
Don't matter
righty.
to me.
Well, Mr. Daniel James II, meaningful youth engagement is crucial for shaping policies that truly reflect of their needs and aspirations. How would you foster exclusive dialogue and collaboration between the Marion County Democratic Party, local youth organizations, and individual young residents to ensure their voices are heard and incorporated into policy making and decisions with the Youth Democratic Party?
First of all, I want to say thank you, Marcus, and
Yes,
thank you, Nigeria, as well, just for being here. I also want to thank everyone that's watching online. It is a pleasure. I love Marion County. I love my home county. It is a county in which I was born. I'm a native of, and where I work currently. I am a youth leader still in Marion County, and so it's a pleasure to be here. I think that the important part of this is, well, one, just giving a little bit about my background. I've had the opportunity to not only work in state government and federal government, but also work with nonprofits. I very much value grassroots efforts and organizations that meet the needs of people. We can be policymakers or lawmakers or prop up people to run for elected office, but it's people on the ground that actually carry these things out, whether you're talking about housing, healthcare, whether you're talking about ending poverty, alleviating poverty, whether you're talking about addressing miseducation, lack of educational resources, etc. One of the main ways that I sort of want to, in this role, hopefully with collaboration, both from Marion County Democratic Party, but also from you all and whoever would join this chapter, one of the ways that I would love to foster youth engagement would be through what I would call youth-led issue teams or task forces. And one of the ways it works in caucuses is sort of you have young people that are excited about different issues, whether it's things that they champion at their local high school or their local university. And you separate out those issues, whether it's healthcare, whether it's getting people to vote, whether it's civic education, or whether it's surrounding and then corruption or whatever the topic might be. You find young people that are interested about that, and then you help those young people basically lead campaigns, both with by collaborating with Marion County Council, Marion County Economic Development, and other city leaders such as the mayors that are a part of Marion County, such as Mayor Pickett and others. and basically collaborate with how do we advance Marion County's plan to address these issues, whether it's talking about filling healthcare gaps. Of course, we know things that are happening at the national level impacting us on a local level, or whether it's filling in for nutritional assistance, giving the way in which SNAP is being cut across the country and its impact on places like Marion County. I think that that is one idea that I would love to bring to the table as a chairman for this chapter, would be creating youth-led issue teams or task forces that center around issues that young people care about, and then getting them to talk and hold their elected officials and local government accountable, and not only accountable, but also planning with them ways to advance and make headway in these issue areas, if that makes sense. So, yes, that's one way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel James II. We will be back to the questions for you, and it'll be throughout the panel. So I have a quick question for you, Mr. Nigeria Hannah. The role of youth chairman requires strong leadership, communication, and organizational skills. Can you provide specific examples of how you have demonstrated these qualities in previous roles? How would you leverage them to effectively lead and represent the youth in Marion County within the Democratic Party?
First of all, thank you to you, Mr. Marcus White, and to you, Mr. James. Um, I have a long line of working with the youth, whether that has been locally in my home church, Bethlehem AME, and I have also participated in student government throughout intermediate, middle, and high school. I have always worked with the youth. In fact, in the church, I have served on a youth conference, on the youth department on the conference level, and I have a heart for young people. I have a desire to lead. Not only do I have a desire to lead, but I have a desire to follow. And if we're going to have the next group of leaders come up, we have to have somebody that's willing to listen and bridge the divide between the older generation and the newer generation. There really is no difference between those two generations. It's just the ability to sit down and listen to each other, because we have all things that we could work on and work together with and succeed in. Um, in this role, if the Lord sees fit for me to get it, I do not want to become stagnant. I just want to continue going out to the youth and reaching them and getting them to see that their voice is just as important as anybody with a bullhorn, whether that's going to the voting polls or going down to City Hall because you have an issue. We all have a voice.
Thank you so much. We actually have our first question in the chat, and I would like for us, all of us together, to have a chance to answer it. It is, what does each candidate plan to do to increase voter turnout amongst the youth in Marion County? Mr. Dane James, would you like to go first?
I sure can, unless Mr. Nigeria really wants to go first, but I'll try to get out of the way, Nigeria, so you can answer the question. One of the things that came to mind, because, this chapter, we wouldn't just be responsible for a diverse pipeline of candidates that would run behind democratic values, but we also are responsible for the general public and making sure that they are informed about how they can engage civically, vote, and also how they can carry out democratic values in any community work that they do. It is my firm belief that the only people that have a democratic platform are the elected officials. Then that place in which you're expecting to fulfill a democratic vision, it can fail. That's just the reality of it. One of the things that came to mind is I would love to do what's called almost like a voter day, where we have nothing but we flood the town of Marion County with materials related to politics, related to voting, and related to what's going on in the community. These materials would be both in person, so it would be things that you could, it would be something you could create online, and you could airdrop to somebody's phone, but it also could be a handbill as well that you can hand out both at local businesses, at public places, at restaurants, your local grocery stores, etc., Food Line, Walmart. That's out between Marion and Mullins. We'll determine whether it's actually in Mullins or Marion later, but it's Marion and Mullins in Marion County. And these things could also cover multiple things about politics and voting. First, how do I hold my elected official accountable? What does redistricting, how does that impact me or my state? The big, beautiful bill, as they've called it. Well, how does this bill actually, how does that impact me? as a citizen? How do I ensure that I'm registered? But it could also cover things that are going on in the community. For example, we talked a long time about an interstate coming through South Carolina that connects South Carolina to Detroit. How would I-73 impact me? What does better infrastructure look like here? Why don't we have more industries in Marion County since the 80s and 90s? How do we bring industry back? What do we do if our local hospital closes and people still need healthcare, both elderly and young growing families? And so these sort of handbills, but also social media campaigns related to Voter Day would cover a different topic each month, but they would all sort of tie back. Hopefully the infographic would tie back to the fact of how does this issue that's going on in the community nationally, how does it connect to me being an engaged voter? And that's sort of that's one rallying effort I would do to get people to vote, taking issues that are happening nationally, hot button topics, etc., and making it relatable to them in some way, both in person as well as online.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel James II. Mr. Nigeria Hannah, would you like to go ahead and answer that question as well?
Yes, sir, I would. Some things I agree with Mr. James on as far as having a voters day, but I would start in order to get the youth turnout and voters in big numbers. I would first start with going to where the youth is or are. You have to hit the schools, the high schools across the county. You have to hit the churches. You have to hit the basketball courts, the malls, everything that our youth in Marion County attends. We have to hit there and get them to understand the importance of voting. A lot of times, people in Marion County do not vote, and then we look at the things that go on in Marion County and we complain about it, but we had the power in our hand the whole time to get somebody in that had a better policy or simply was better for the job. But we have to show our youth the importance of voting, the policies. We have to get them to ask the candidates, well, what are you going to do when you get in office? How are you going to help my demographic? Um, what is going to change? Because Marion County has been the same for the last longest. We have all grown up in Marion County and it's still the same. Nothing has come in, but a lot of things have gone out, even to the fact where kids go to college and they don't even come back because we have nothing in Marion County that keeps them here. No jobs, no educational advances, none of that. We just have little old Marion County. So, in order to get increase the voter turnout amongst the youth, I would hit them where they are and sit them down and explain to them. And once I have at least 5 trusted youth that can go out and get more, then we would all rally together and get more youth to come in and just see what they want to talk about, what's bothering them, what's their dilemmas, what questions do they have, and let's go get those answers. And I'm done.
I tell you what, Mr. Hannah, that was actually an excellent response. And my answer was going to be piggyback off of what you have said. I truly believe that we have a lot of seniors in high school who failed to vote for Marion County and things as that. So I feel as though having that connection with the high school and being able to touch the high school students would actually be great. And going inside the high schools, maybe create a rally for Marion County, set aside a day from the Marion County Democratic Party and other things of that sort, especially with what we are about to get ready to form in Marion County with the youth department. I believe that it'll be amazing turnout and trying to get others to come on out and vote for what's right. Vote for blue. Like I was at a conference the other day with Dr. Jermaine Johnson, and I was sitting down with a table with Mr. Darius Pickett, the person who answered the question. And he mentioned something that really sparked my attention. He said, vote for blue no matter who. I truly believe in that slogan. However, I do believe that there are some aspects of that can be challenging, but we as Democratic Party members will be able to go out and explain that process. Well, I'll tell you what, we do have somebody else in our chat today, and I would like to very much introduce her. Her name is Mayor Miko Pickett, the mayor of Mullins, South Carolina. How are you doing, Miss Miko Pickett?
I'm doing just great. I am just excited to be on this call with you guys. I'm loving what I'm hearing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I would like to say to the candidates, could you share your vision for the future of the Marion County Democratic Party youth?
Yes, actually, I'm loving what I'm hearing so far. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, just real quick, about just being mayor. Um, the future is yours. I'm 56 years old now. Everything I do for the next generation to come. I am actively seeking my replacement. So, and to be my replacement, I don't want it to be like the old days, where somebody runs and then somebody else runs and then you got to start all over again. Mayor Robert Woodbury was a dear friend of mine, and I didn't know it, but I did everything in my power to support him when he was in office. So when it came time for me to run, it was about me finishing his vision. So let me talk to you real briefly about that. He had a vision of reimagining Mullins. And we are doing just that. Our Old Brick Square and Marketplace Park is the number one competitive advantage that any city could ever have. We're bringing an amphitheater, splash pads, community events. That is what businesses, future investors want to get access to. And then I think it was Daniel that talked about infrastructure. Everything used to be here. Well, guess what? Because everything used to be here, we still have those good bones. I've met with the water company, I've met with the power company, and they tell me, Mayor, you have the infrastructure, because at one point Mullins was the number one place for tobacco in the state. So they left us behind all of these great infrastructures. Doesn't look so great right now. We do have a beautification committee that's working on that. We are working with our county's economic development in order to bring businesses to town. So there's a lot of good stuff that's happening, and it just doesn't stop at my term. So I am so excited to be on this chat with you all today, to hear your vision and to know that there's somebody coming up. All right. So you have to live in Mullins, obviously, in order to be mayor of Mullins. But it is so important that we pass that torch on down and that you guys know what we're working on. And I try as mayor to be as transparent as I possibly can. So my door is open. If you all ever wanted to meet with me at any time, just let me know. We could schedule time, and I would love to hear your views.
Thank you so much. I want to give an opportunity for the other candidates to ask you a quick question about, something that they have interest in, what you're doing, and how can you face the Marion County Democratic Party Youth Department itself.
Sure. I'm a call. I want to hear from Nigeria. By the way, Nigeria, I love your church, Bethel AME. I have a lot of good friends there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mayor Pickett, my question is just a small question. How can we, as the youth department of the Democratic Party, partner with you as mayor of Mullins in order to get more engagement in the Mullins side of Marion County? What were things that you would suggest be done?
A lot of what you guys already talked about. It's telling the story, because you guys have the most to gain, right? So I'll give you an example. We are working on building the Old Brick Square Marketplace, where there's going to be an amphitheater that's going up, a playground that's going up, a splash pad that's going up. Well, there's some people in town that are against it. And the ones that are against it, they're not the younger people in town. The younger people in town, they keep telling me a couple things. We want jobs, we want housing, and we want something to do. But if you don't show up at the city council meetings, if you don't hold your city council person accountable, then it's the other people in their ears that are going to get the vote. So you want workforce housing. And when I say workforce housing, that's not low income housing. That's housing for working people. I need you guys there. So if you, by starting this chapter, the Young Democrats chapter, engaging the youth, you guys need some place to live. Y'all need some place to work. When it's time for you to have kids, you want something for your kids to do, and you want some place that you can feel proud of, right? There's other folks that are ready to retire. They have different needs, different views for the city. So I need you guys at the table with me.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor, it's been a pleasure hearing from you also about your vision as well. My question is about something that's really just been a burden on my heart, and that's healthcare. For Marion County in particular, you have more than half of the county that's on Medicaid or Medicare. And it doesn't just impact elderly people, it impacts low income folks. And a lot of low income folks are also young people, young and growing families as well. And, these cuts, in some ways, people feel powerless about how it can impact their lives. My question to you is like, what is a contingency plan? Something that we could do in the meantime to still support people, healthcare wise, whether it's finding providers who can do things pro bono, or whether it's doing some type of campaign advocacy. What could we do even on a local and a municipal level to support people in that way?
A couple things, right? Marion County, Mullins specifically, 1 in 4 people live below poverty. 70% of the folks that live in Marion County are African American. In Marion County, you can get to 2 dialysis centers before you can get to any place where you can get access to fresh local food. So the number one thing, in my view, is prevention. There's a young group, I think his name is Deontay Hemingway, a young man. He posted on Facebook, who wants to go to the fitness center at OBS and work out? We put in a brand new walking trail. We got to think about preventive, right? Because there's certain things that impact African Americans at a higher rate, and that is definitely diabetes and high blood pressure. And those are diseases and illnesses that we can prevent. A. B, absolutely mobile. I have a friend of mine who told me that she's about to start a mobile healthcare business. And when she starts her mobile healthcare business, I am going to beg her to come to Mullins, and I'm going to direct her to those neighborhoods. So let's take the medicine to the people in both ways. One, in terms of better healthy options for them. And two, in terms of not using the hospital as your primary healthcare, right? So if you're getting your annual physicals, you're getting your annual mammograms, because it's made available to you at OBS, or we have a mobile clinic that's coming to your neighborhood, then those outcomes won't be as bad, because we can get ahead of the diabetes, get ahead of the cancer. We know those things are going to happen, but through better prevention, we can have better communities.
Thank you so much, Mayor Miko Pickett. It was honestly an honor to have you on the call today. However, I do believe there is a question in the chat for you.
Okay.
I believe this is Miss Jackson said, how do you all plan to address literacy and education with the young people in Marion County? So I do want you to answer that while you're on the line. And I want to go down the line and allow Mr. Daniel James II and Mr. Nigeria Hannah to answer that as well, and myself as well.
Sure. So I can't really announce it right now, but I do have a big announcement in terms of literacy in Marion County. Literacy in Mullins, right? And I can't announce it, but I will say this, is that I am going to be focusing in 2026. I will be rolling out some literacy campaigns. It's going to be a major focus of my administration that will be focused on 3-year-olds, right? We know that all school district is a Title I school district. We have several failing schools. I'm a proponent that if we start young, right? I'm not discounting anybody, but we definitely need to start young. If we start young, then we can build from there. And I kind of want to do a test case. So I'm going to pause on that question. Follow up with me about March 2026. And between now and then, you should be hearing some more things about that. I'm also working with the school board to try to reinstitute a program for a forklift training. This is adult ed, right? So earlier I talked about the industries that want to come to Mullins, right? So they want to come to Mullins, but they need employees. And they say, Mayor, we need the employees to know how to use a forklift. And if they know how to use a forklift, we're going to pay them $17 an hour and more. So we're going to give them a living wage right away. So we got to work with adult education and part of the school board to bring in forklift training, to bring in carpentry, plumbing. Those are the jobs, the immediate jobs that are living wage jobs that the city of Mullins needs right now.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on, and I would like for the other guys to answer as well, but I want to say have a great one. Have a great evening, and thank you so much for joining us. Mr.
Thank
Daniel
you,
James
guys.
II, would you like to answer that question? Thank you.
Repeat the question for me, Mark.
How do you plan to address literacy and education with the young people in Marion County?
Well, one way that you address literacy and education amongst young people, particularly in Marion County, you have to get at the issue very early. Illiteracy begins very early. And it's unfortunate, but on a national scale, you see Head Start being gutted. You see primary education being gutted. I think that one of the things we have to realize is like daycares and other early childhood sorts of centers, they play a great role in teaching children how to learn, but particularly how to read, how to write. And so I would love to pull those resources. We already have people who do this on a daily basis who are primary and early childhood educators. I think that our power, particularly as a chair in this role, but also as a Young Dems chapter, is tapping on people who are already doing the work and crowdsourcing those resources into one place, whether that is having a resource online or having a resource that's available to the community and saying, hey, this is where you go if your child's having problems reading or learning to read. These are people who can help them as well. I think also utilizing public spaces to promote literacy events. She talked about, Mayor Pickett talked about turning public spaces into places where you can host programming. One of my ideas was something related to a people's playground, where we have playground games or combos for young people, creative arts in public spaces in Marion, and particularly Marion's downtown, but utilizing that also as a youth free read for all for children. We've done that in different elementary schools, but we haven't done that as a community. And I think that that could be really good for children as well, whether that's monthly, whether it's biweekly, having a read along for children where they're both learning something that's teaching maybe a moral lesson, but also learning the basics of of sentence structure and words and new words, and then also building upon that and preparing them to enter into elementary school in Marion County and beyond. So I think that those two things are things that we could do.
Thank you so much. Mr. Nigeria?
All right, for me, I think y'all got the younger kids situated. So I love to partner with you all when it comes to the younger um, kids. But for me, we have a lot of kids, and I'm talked to a lot of educators. There's a lot of kids in the ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and some even in the 12th that are reading on fourth and fifth grade reading levels there. And the problem is you see a lot in the school district that teachers are just passing kids along and not getting them the proper help. By the time they get to high school, most teachers are saying, I'm not going to correct it now because it essentially do more harm than good if I correct it now. But actually they're doing more harm just by continuing to pass the child off. So what I would do is partner with the educators. We have a lot of educators, fine educators that come out of Marion County and some that are still teaching in Marion County. So I will partner with them, our pastors, our reading programs, and after school programs like Pleasant Grove, Rise, the reading programs in Mullins. I will partner with all of them and set up some type of program in order for the high school and middle school kids to, and all ages K through 12, to get some reading assistance and get some things sorted out. Even with the academic side, when it comes to the arithmetic, a lot of kids don't know how to do something as simple as long division because, again, they were passed along. And so somebody has to bring the question to the table. Why do we keep passing them along instead of lending them a helping hand?
Thank you so much. And I also love your response, Mr. Nigeria. I do believe that you're fired up. And actually, while I was at that conference that we had, I heard the Senator of Ohio. She said, if your hair is on fire, you need to act like your hair is on fire. And I do believe that your response your hair was on fire. Now, listen, I do believe in face-to-face advocacy. And, since I am in the schoolhouse, I do, would get advice from high school students, not just high school students, because I oftentimes do visit, elementary schools and middle schools and things like that when I am on my Boys and Gentlemen Club tour with Marion High School. And I would say, I would use that as an opportunity to speak to the youth and see what do they lack in literacy, and see how would they need help more so with their literacy. And I would take that piece of advice, work with my team, because we do have some amazing candidates coming up who is running for secretary and treasurer, who work with them to be able to get the right area and the right space that we need to help these kids out, even if that's them coming to one of our meeting spaces, which is in Mullins, and working, sitting down hand in hand with them, working with them, and making sure that they have the right education that they need in Marion County. Now, I would like to take a pause on the questions right now. Have an awesome speaker come up tonight. Her name, she goes by Miss Kendra Fling. She is the Marion County Democratic Party chairwoman, and I do believe that she has an amazing opportunity to speak with us tonight. How you doing, Miss Fling?
I'm doing well. Thank you all for having me here with you all tonight. And I want to tell you all, this is so exciting. It is exciting as the chair of the Democratic Party, as well for me, as well as the party, to have you all so excited and enthused about what's going on in Marion County. And you all know that you all are the future of Marion County.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Listen, I have a few questions for you, actually. I do believe that we'll be collaborating with you, since you are the head chair of the Marion County Democratic Party, if we are elected. How would you say would be the most effective way for us to collaborate with you, knowing that you have other obstacles that you have to take with the head Democratic Party? And what expectations do you have for us in this role as the young Democratic Party for Marion?
Well, I tell you what, Marcus. You collaborating with me or with the party. We will expect that, we will monitor, we'll get together, we will have scheduled meetings so that you all know that you always have a voice. You're not just out there by yourselves, you're not just floundering around. But one thing is, the Marion County Democratic Party and the Marion County Young Dems, we all have the same mission. We want to get the community engaged. We want to have fair elections. We want to change the landscape of Marion County's politics. And so together, we can all make this happen.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fling. I do have a question for you while you're on the line with us. I want all of us to be able to come off mute, collaborate with this question. We was asked earlier in the chat, how would you combat the old saying, I don't know about politics, don't want to know about politics? I hear it often from the youth. So how would we combat with that and get them to come out and vote for the youth?
Well, I believe it all goes back to educating the community. For so long, the community has been told your vote doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change. But we have to educate the community. That is the youth as well as the older adults on what kind of power you have. And since becoming the chair, we have a motto: your voice, your vote, your party. And I tell people, I want you to own up to that. Take ownership of it, because until you speak up with your voice and get out and vote so that your party can be heard. So we all together must get the word out, educate. I don't care where you are, talk about it. I invite people every day to come to the party. I tell them that the party meets every second Thursday at 6 p.m. and we always lit. So come to the party, okay? And I think that you all would do the same. I've been speaking to people about the young Dems. Every time I see a young adult, I'm like, hey, you need to come out, you need to get involved because you all are the future, and this is where it starts. This is where the change starts.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Listen, I would like to focus this on to Mr. Daniel James II, since he do have he is working, I believe, in the House. So how can you answer this while Miss Fling is online? How would you answer this question with your point of view, as knowing that you will be collaborating with some other young Democratic parties in South Carolina, and seeing how could you collaborate that whole thing maybe with this upcoming governor election, and pinpoint that into that question?
Goodness. First of all, it's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Fling. I don't know if I met you in person in Marion County, but it's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Fling. I
Thank
think
you.
going back to what she was saying and the question that Reagan asked about politics, regardless of whether you're interested or not, politics affects your daily life. It affects whether you're able to have food on your table. It affects whether you have a job. It affects whether you live or die. In a lot of instances, it really is a matter of life and death. And so I think that for young people, it's making it relatable in a quick and real and relatable way. We do something with my young people at my local church at the Door of Hope. We call it Real Talk, where we have conversations that are about, lofty topics, often biblical topics, but we do it in such a way where we have a discussion and we bring in people's real experiences that they're having in their everyday lives. Young people just want to have an opportunity to voice their opinion, voice how they feel. Everyone wants to be able to provide for their family, do better, have food on the table. And if they realize the power that's in their vote, and in them joining arms with other people that want the same thing, I think we can make politics a lot more relatable. Politics isn't just, it's not, it shouldn't at all be about corruption and taking power from people. But when they realize that politics is an opportunity to give power back to the people, and particularly when you support Democrats and Democratic vision, it's all about investing back in people's lives. It's all about investing in people's long-term well-being and holistic well-being, from health, wealth, education, recreation. We care about every aspect of your life. I think in terms of how I would utilize my background and resources to support this upcoming gubernatorial election, well, we just saw a candidate announce who is planning to run for governor of South Carolina. And I think we cannot have that, to say the very least. And so I think that making sure that, one, I worked in state government for the Commission for Minority Affairs, where we connected ethnic minority communities, hashtag African Americans, Native Americans, et cetera, to socioeconomic resources, but that included helping them get engaged voter-wise. There are a lot of grassroots orgs that I do have in my back pocket, but also that you all also have in your back pocket, Miss Kendra, Marcus, Nigeria. We're all going to be working together to do this. And I think when we pool our resources, we don't realize how much we have at our disposal sometimes as a local in a rural town. We don't realize how many feet we have on the ground. And so we need to have a whole discussion about just who do you know and who do you know and who do you know? Okay, if I know 5 people, then you know 5 people, and you know 5 people, then we can do a lot more together. I think sometimes in rural places where we don't have, that connectivity that an urban center may have, we lose, our ability to do things well together. And so I would utilize that network that I have at the state level, but then also in Marion County. I thank God for my local church. It has helped keep me tapped all the way in, both with my young people, both at Marion High School, Mullins High School, but also in the community downtown, from McGill's all the way down to Fred's Barbershop in downtown Marion. So I say that to say, yes, that is one way. We got to realize the power that we have, and it's in being together. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dane James II. Listen, I do want to speak on that as while Miss Kendra Fling is up here before I give Mr. Nigeria Hannah a chance to talk. I feel as though your vote is your right, and I didn't want to forget that. And phases like those are we hear from family members and friends saying I think it's more so of a generation thing. And Mr. Nigeria, I wanted you to express before I get up here and actually speak about it. I want you to also incorporate this question into how would I say this? I want you to incorporate this in if we, and I want all of us to answer this. If we are not if we were not selected or elected Saturday, August 16th, 12 p.m. at Fred's Barbershop, we're having a party. If we were not selected during this party, will we still incorporate ourselves with the chairman and work together? And like he said, 5 people, 5 people, 5 people, and collaborate it into as one. Let me know.
Oh yes, I most definitely would. The thing about running for a position is win or lose, if you were in it for the right intentions, you still gonna do the work. A lot of times people run for positions just for a title. But for me, I'm in it for the long run. I want to serve my community. I want to serve the people that sit in the pews and hear me either preside or preach on Sunday mornings. I just want to be a servant. And in order to be a servant, I have to sit at the table. So I'm in it for the long run, win or lose.
Well, Marion County is my proving ground, so I'm not leaving my proving ground. I've gotten this far because of Marion County, and I'm committed to my county and to people and to you all. So, yeah, that's an easy question.
I do believe that, I started off with it and I'm gonna end with it, Miss Kendra Fling. I do like the party, and I'll encourage everyone that's looking in the chat today. If you are in this chat, I want you to come out to the party. It is, I believe it's the last Thursday in August. The last Thursday, is that right, Miss Fling?
The second Thursday.
Second
The
Thursday in August,
second Thursday. August the 14th is the next party.
right before the election date.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So listen, while Miss Fling is up here, I do have a question from Mr. Pickett, who is actually, over us. He's the third chair for the Marion
Third.
County Democratic Party. Yes, ma'am. And so how can the young Dems make sure to include the voices of all demographics of Marion County, include those that don't look the same or worship the same or religion is as ours? And speaking from a religion background, I would like to start this conversation off with Mr. Nigeria.
Um, One of the first things we learn as a preacher, whether it is when you're in seminary or before you go, is that you have to respect people. That's something that you actually learn at home before you go to school for the first time. Even though you may not look like me, even though we may not agree on some of the same things, there's still a person behind those feelings and those viewpoints. So, um, for me, I would look past. I'm a Christian. I'm a devout Christian. I'm a Methodist preacher, but I have to look past that. I have to talk to those who believe in Buddha and Muhammad and those who may not even believe in any faith at all. We have to talk to them and go out and explain things in their viewpoints. Some things as a Christian, it may affect me different compared to those who may not believe in Christianity, and I have to be able to get that across to them in their language. Um, so for me to include them, I would talk to them, go to their mass and anything else if I'm allowed in, and talk to them like there's somebody and say, hey, what is pressing you? What are the issues that you see in Marion County? What do you want to see in Marion County? What would you say that you want to be talked about or discussed in this party? And why not come to the table? Because last time I checked, we are all humans and we all deserve a seat at the table, no matter the race, creed, or color.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nigeria. I do love that quote. I do love that quote as well. Is if you're not invited to the table, bring a chair. I do believe in that quote as well, and especially with the Marion County Democratic Party. While we have Ms. Fling up here, once again, make sure you come out to the party. Now, Mr. Daniel James, could you answer that question for us as well?
I certainly could. You know what? I would pull from actually a biblical example. Jesus' disciples, they were arguing about who is going to be the greatest amongst all of you. And Jesus, one of his responses was, "Listen, you're worrying about who's the greatest, and you don't realize that Satan desires to have all of you." And so, what I don't think we realize is that no matter what background, ethnicity, religion, race, etc., persuasion you may come from, we all want a quality of life, and there's also a federal government and a government actively at work to destroy all of our quality of lives, whatever you care about, in whatever way. So your issue may be that you want better healthcare. Your issue may be that you want better housing in your community. Your issue may be, well, we need better reproductive care, whatever it might be. But you don't realize that fighting and pitting one group against another and the interests of another against another group of people actually is not beneficial for the whole. All of our qualities of lives are at stake. And so one of the things that I have brought to this is that, I have a background, an international background. I did my master's in China with 39 different people from 39 different nations. And so it's not theory for me. It is actual for me in terms of standing alongside people from different backgrounds and still standing firm in who I am, but still respecting what they need and who they are. People that have been through wars, people that are actively helping shape the world in different ways. And so, yes, I think that we have to have respect for people of different international backgrounds, people that come from different places, and Marion, believe it or not, draws a lot of different people. But I think that if we have respect for everyone, realize that all of our quality of life is at stake, and fight for everyone with regard to what they're passionate about, we can always find a commonality. We can always find, because we're at the end of the day, we're human beings. And we're living in the same rural working class town. So obviously we have something in common. So, yeah.
To piggyback off of what Mr. James II said, I am at the Marion High School, and I am around a lot of people who are from, different backgrounds, different religions, different organizations. But from somehow I applied my situations and compare it to theirs. Like, we are all, like Mr. Hannah said, we are all human. There should be no reason why we can't communicate with each other. No reason why we can't love each other the same. And I do believe that I would make sure that it is my decision to get out more and express myself more with different people from different backgrounds and, different religions, and see what can we do, as Mr. Hannah said, to incorporate them into our Democratic Party, even if they're not a Democrat. Come on out to the party. Maybe this will help you out. Maybe this will change your views, or maybe you don't like something that the Republican Party is doing. So you need a better view on what the Democratic Party is doing for your county. And I would really like to thank Ms. Kendra Flink for joining us this evening. Thank you so much for coming out. I really do appreciate you. No problem. Listen, we do have a surprise guest coming along. I do really want to introduce him. He is making history as Bishopville youngest mayor, Mr. Mayor Gibbons. He made history in Bishopville, and I believe he is an amazing candidate for this call. How are you doing, Mr. Mayor?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I look upside down on my screen. Am I upside down for y'all?
No, sir. Yes, sir. You're sideways, but yeah, there you go. There you go. You're good.
Okay.
Now. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Glad to be here, and was just listening to each of you talk, and I don't know why it keeps doing that, but I just say I have so much encouragement for our future, to know that there's other young people across our state that are working, Republicans, Democrats, independents alike. Just being young and involved is important. And I'll throw out there real quick before you get to ask me what you want to ask. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, and I'm a proud independent. And I have voted for, in more days, I know it keeps slipping, I'm sorry. In more recent days, I've been voting more democratic, because I think our democracy is under attack on a national level, and I think you guys have hit on that. And I think, Daniel, you hit on a candidate running for governor, and I think I know exactly the lunatic you were referring to. And as an independent, I'll say we are really under attack in our state, and so having young people like yourself and getting involved is just encouraging. Now I'll let you get to ask me your questions. I just wanted to say that at first.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Giddings. Listen, I have a question for you. What happened that inspired you to run? You know, as you said, as a independent. So, what inspired you to run? And even with the criticism you faced as a young person running for election, how did it keep you going?
Sure. Um, what inspired me? I think my answer to that's going to be something somebody else just said a few minutes ago. You mentioned in Marion County having young people move away and not come back. Well, that's the story of Lee County, and that's the story that we're beginning to reverse. 70% of our, I think our numbers are real similar. Just roughly 70% of our community was under poverty level, roughly 2-3 years ago. Those numbers have come down a little bit, but they're still pretty staggering. Most college kids would move away, high school kids would move away, go to college and not come back because we didn't have a competitive workforce. We didn't have housing that was modern and viable to raise a family in. And we certainly weren't attractive for nightlife and providing young people what they desire in today's world. We're changing that. And what I want to tell you is, you've heard the saying, Rome wasn't built overnight. Well, that is a stark reality. But it was built. And it was built because it was started. And so Bishopville is not going to be built overnight, but it's being built because we started it 2 years ago, rebuilt. And so the short answer to your question is, some people say I was crazy for getting on and getting in politics. Some days I think that may be true, but most days I think it's because I had a desire to change the future. You know, there's a saying that they say, if you want to change the future, ask those that will be living in it. And that's us, and that's the next generation. So that's why I got involved.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Giddings. Listen, I have a question for all of us to answer that was mentioned in the chat earlier. It was a question that I feel as though will touch you, Mr. Giddings, and us as, you know, the ones who are running for chair. It was a question asked, do we have a campaign slogan? Did you have a campaign slogan, Mr. Giddings, or punchline, and that captures your message? And what do you hope to represent as chair for the ones who running for chairman? And for Mayor Giddings, what did you hope to represent as the mayor of Bishopville, and was you able to accomplish that? I will let the ones who running for chairman speak first, and then I'll get back to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go first. My campaign slogan is "Move Marion Forward," and that slogan is near and dear to me because I'm tired of being stagnant. I'm tired of being in the same place. I don't want to be in the same place. We call it a rut in the country, and I'm tired of being in a rut. Um, and this punchline is really, the slogan really is deep. It's deep when you actually look at Marion County and not just look at it in a natural sense, but when you actually sit down and analyze all of the things that go on in Marion County, you just think in your mind, it's time to move Marion forward from one end of Main Street down to the other end of Main Street across from CVS. It is time to move Marion forward. And for me, as chair, I hope to represent a light that may penetrate any darkness that is going on in our youth, any dark hole that may be clouded over them. I hope to be that light that penetrates, a light of understanding, and that they know that even if you don't have all of the answers, I may not have all of the answers, but we can come together, put our minds together, and work together and get the answers. Or if we can't get them when we put our minds together, maybe we can go reach out to somebody else who has the answers. And first, if we believe in Jesus Christ, then we know that we must pray in all things. I believe it was Matthew that said, if you seek him first, that's all you got to do is just seek him. And that's what I hope to represent as chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hannah. Now, Mr. James, could you answer that question for us? What is your campaign slogan, and what do you hope to represent as you're the chairman of the Marion County Democratic Party Youth?
Thank you for asking that question, Mr. Marcus. I believe if I had a slogan, it would be being, having, and becoming a better Marion County. And when I talk about being, having, and becoming, I'm talking about health, wealth, and education. Those are the three top things. When I talk about health, I mean better nutrition. I mean better spiritual health. I also mean obviously better physical health. When we talk about wealth, we're talking about making sure that we have opportunities for small businesses to come to Marion County and thrive. We're also talking about opportunities for young people to have trades, for young people to pursue jobs, young people to start their own businesses, young people to have something to leave their children other than debt. And when we talk about education, we mean holistically. We've talked obviously about civic education. We've talked about informal education, making sure people can know how to manage personal finances, but also know why they should vote, but also that they're prepared to go to a 4-year college, 2-year college, pursue a trade, bring that education you've received and bring it back and invest it right here in the PD. It would be being, becoming, and having a better Marion County. And I think that one of the other things that that slogan encapsulates is like, it's not that Marion County doesn't have what we need. I believe we have the people we need to make change, especially amongst our young people. I think we have all the tools we need. We just have to realize the superpower of what we have and the knowledge that we have. Both people that currently live in Marion County, whether you work, organize Marion County, or you care about it. I was talking to a young man today. His name's Tejan, who does a lot of nonprofit work in Marion and related to giving away things to students who are going back to school, etc. He lives in Richmond, but he's talking about how he can help stir up Marion County to do better and stir up young people as well to vote and stir up young people to live better lives and better quality of lives. So I think we have to realize that we have a vast amount of resources. We've seen all this success come out of Marion County, go to NFL, go do all these great things, right? That's what are products of us. And so we have to realize that those aren't glitches in the system. That is what is possible when we are intentional about people's health, their wealth, and education, being, having, and becoming a better Marion County.
That is amazing. I do believe in the potential, like you were saying, Mr. James II. And I would like to piggyback off of what you said with my campaign slogan. It was something that touched me because I believe that we should walk the walk and talk the talk. So I chose be phenomenal or be forgotten, the voice for the youth. And it was a slogan that I kind of used for my campaign whenever I ran for sophomore class president at the Marion High School in Marion, South Carolina. Be phenomenal or be forgotten. You can, in this generation, we have to make a name for ourselves. Like I see a lot of young people in Marion High School, some waltz around, not really interested. You could tell the ones who is not really interested in the and who's not very interested in politics, and you could tell the ones who it's not really just about politics. The ones who are just walking around doing their own little thing, and the ones who are just very hyped and energetic. And you have to understand that we are in a school with each other for literally 3 and 4 years. You have to be phenomenal or be forgotten. So I really think that that is a great campaign slogan that will be launching in a couple of days. I will have a flyer out, reaching the top 10 reasons of why I chose to run. And I really think that I want to head this over to Mr. Mayor Giddings from Bishopville, South Carolina. And could you answer that question for us, sir?
Sure. So, can you still hear me okay? I think I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think I worked it out.
Yes, sir.
My slogan was bigger, brighter, better Bishopville, 4 Bs. And I tell you, each one of them meant something, right? We wanted a bigger Bishopville, we wanted a better Bishopville, and we wanted a brighter Bishopville. And I really think this is just a recommendation to the three of you as you move forward in life and your journey getting involved in politics. Live by your slogan. And I think each person needs a slogan for their life. Now, that's not my personal slogan, that was my campaign slogan, but create a personal slogan as well for yourself and live by it. And I promise you it will do you well.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank you for joining us tonight. And I would say have a great night. And I really want to thank you for making history as the youngest person to be the mayor of Bishopville, South Carolina. I really hope to communicate with you soon with the Marion County Democratic Party and the ones who, are candidates. If you need help contacting Mr. Giddens, I'm sure he will be available to allow us to be able to contact him. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Now, we do have someone very special coming up all the way back from Marion, South Carolina. I want to bring up to the screen to you the Congressman Mr. Fred Goss. We will be hosting this event at his barbershop August 16th at 12 p.m. How you doing, Councilman Fred Goss?
I'm doing great. I'm just enjoying the dialogue and the discussions that I'm hearing. I'm excited for the citizens of Marion County. I'm excited for all of you all, and I thank you for finding it not robbery of your time to serve and to be willing to serve. But yeah, we're excited about what's taking place. All the questions that have been asked, all the answers that have been given. Um, I'm just delighted to be here, and I'm just looking forward to what's going to manifest. And what I love about what I've heard thus far is the diversity in all of your questions, the answers that you've given. And we call schools of higher learning universities. Whenever we can find unity in the midst of diversity and thought like that, that's how our country moves forward. That's how our state will move forward. That's how our counties and our cities will move forward through the fact that our diversities make us stronger. We're stronger together, stealing that from our mayor, uh, Miko Pickett. But we're just excited to see that our Democratic Party is uniting and we're growing stronger together. But just delighted to be here, sir.
I do have a question that kind of ties into the question in the chat for you, Mr. Goss. Your question was, how can we leverage Fred's Barbershop as a gathering place and potential office for the youth engagement? Also, what key strategies should we focus on for a success campaign for these final 10 days that we have to run?
Awesome question. So for years, historically, especially in the Black community, but just in general, the barbershop has always been that meeting place. It's been that watering hole, or that place that we gather to share information, whether it be good or bad. The barbershop has always been that area designated to do that. So I'm just glad to be able to be in a barber, just to be able to utilize that space to be not only a place where we just get our haircuts, but for it to be a classroom, to be a place of learning, to be a place where information is disseminated amongst us that will make our towns, our cities, our county, our world a better place. One of the questions that was asked was talking about, well, comments that was made was about having opportunity. And what I've seen through years is we have produced giants, and like yourselves, like Brother James, like all three of you. And what happened is we produce these giants. You guys leave and you go off, and wherever you are, you have made the world a better place. So being able to create opportunities for our world to be a better place is what I look forward to, and being able to utilize the barbershop as a place for you guys to be able to come in and share is just exciting.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Goss, that was a great response. And I do have a question to be put on, and I would like for you to stay on for this question as well. For the candidates and for Mr. Goss, for it as in the past tense question, for Mr. Goss, how did you balance your job and being councilman of Marion, South Carolina? And for the candidates, how would you balance your day job and being chair? This was asked by Mr. Archie. You can start with the candidates, and then I have you go over on to Mr. Goss.
All right.
You can start, Mr. James, for me.
Well, for those who don't know what I do, I am a comms professional in federal government. So, as you can assume, it is quite active and busy and exciting. But I also am an active youth leader that takes a lot of time. And so, I have managed for the past 2 years since earning my master's degree and working full time to incorporate, and not even incorporate, but I believe that there's a difference between fitting something into your schedule and integrating it into your schedule. At my heart and everything that I do, you can see I'm wearing a South Carolina bow tie tonight. Well, if you see me on Capitol Hill, I wear a South Carolina tie almost every single day. I have like one for every single day of the week. And it's not just a fashion statement, but it is truly because South Carolina is at my heart, is at the heart of everything I do. I represent South Carolina every single where that I go, and particularly Marion County. And so there is no incorporation, it's an integration. I already do a lot of work in terms of youth engagement in Marion County, particularly through my church, the Dorful Christian Church. And so, in terms of a day to day, I think it's making sure that I check in with the young Dems, both of our group, but also to who we are connected through our local chapter, through a weekly basis, both through our meetings. I think that that will be a very important part, but also um, I am able to be in the community quite a bit despite serving in Washington, D.C. Some people wonder if I still live in Washington, D.C. because of that, but I do, in fact. And so I've managed a base in both places now for over a year. And so, yes, I think that time management has been very important, but also realizing that I'm not merely incorporating Marion into my schedule. Marion County is a part of who I am. It's already integrated into my lifestyle. And so I expect the same is going to continue in this role. Thank you.
Could I ask a question real quick before you go, Mr. Hannah, to Mr. James?
Yes.
I have a question for you. So I did hear you speak about how you are going back and forth from Washington and
Yes.
Marion.
Uh-huh.
So how would you more so along pass over the information to your secretary when it revolves the chairman position as, Marion County Democratic Party?
I think that there are multiple messaging channels, but we would have to determine what works best for us. I think as long as the messaging channel is instant, I'm very communicative. I'm literally a comms professional. And so that's what I do for a daily profession. And so I think whatever the comms channel, as long as it is something where we can that's collaborative, something that is open, something that's easy, whether it's GroupMe, whether it's iMessage, whether it's Signal, whatever we decide to do, I think we would have to determine what means. But as long as the method that we choose it involves transparency and being instantaneous with communication, I think that it'll work. So, and I don't know exactly who our secretary candidates are, all of them, or if we have all of them yet, but I think tomorrow is the deadline. But we can also talk about what potentially could work for them as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Speaking on that, if you are in the chat and you are 14 to 36, I would like to invite for you to probably message the Marion County Democratic Party and get involved. We do have some positions open, such as secretary and treasurer. Although that you may have 10 days to run, I'm sure that when we get to the facility at Fred's Barbershop and get ready to do our debate in our election process, you will have no problem with joining back up. Now, Mr. Hannah, would you be able to answer this question? How would you balance your day job as working? I do think that I do believe that you work at the funeral home as well, and also associate yourself with the Bethel AME Church. How would you be able to balance those jobs and be the chairman at the Marion County Democratic Party?
Oh, that's easy. For me, I work at my main job is Department of Social Services for South. So I work for South Carolina, the state government, and I always have my phone near me just in case anybody calls. So I always keep my vibration on so that you can call me at any time. You can message me on Messenger or whatever app that you would choose to use to reach out to me, even by email. And I constantly check those different apps so that I can stay in contact with what is going on in the county and with the funeral home. And me being associate minister, I'm right here in the county. So I'm always nearby, and there's nothing to get in the truck and go where I need to go and be where I need to be.
Thank you so much, sir. And I can also piggyback on that response. Speaking of being in a lot of organizations such as football, track, tennis, JAG, Beta, FBLA, I'm around a lot of students a day, truly. And even at Dry Dock, I'm around a lot of folk. And, I also tend to invite a lot of people, kids, my age to the party because I believe that this is a great opportunity, a great start for Marion County. I would say it's not so much a balancing. It's how can I say this? You make time for what's important. And I believe I express this a lot with the youth in my community. You will make time for what you feel is important. And I do incorporate, like you said, time into my schedule with the Marion County Democratic Party because I believe in its true values and its true mission. Now, Mr. Goss, could you answer that question for us? How was you able to balance your job and being the councilman of Marion County?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I think it's a wonderful question. Um, One of my mentors, the late Bobby Pearson, he was a political strategist. He worked in the Reagan administration during the time when they were voting to make Dr. King's birthday a national holiday. And he would often say to me, Fred, um, busy people stay busy because busy people get things done.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goss. I think that he got disconnected from the call. So while we give him a couple minutes to come back, I do want to bring up to the stage a man that I have met at an event, Mr. Malcolm Cliff Hanger. He is the Florence Democratic Party. I believe he's over the youth engagement, and I'm glad to have you on. How are you doing, Mr. Malcolm?
I'm doing really good. I'm feeling very inspired by all of you. When I was around your age and in high school, I was not thinking about doing this. So I'm very impressed by everything I've heard today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining. Listen, Mr. Malcolm, we have a question for you. How can we collaborate with nearby Democratic parties to boost youth engagement and turnout, especially around the time that we are getting elected before we have to select our next governor for South Carolina? So how can we incorporate with the other Democratic parties, maybe, national, I'm not national, but statewide, and incorporate everybody together?
I love this question. I think about this a lot. In my role, I'm all over the state. I met you in Marion County. I am always in Richland, the beach, Sumter, Kershaw. So yeah, I think good ways to be connected. Well, we're all doing things in our respective communities. So participating, finding out what's going on, understanding who's in leadership, and trying to try to touch base and see, yeah, where are the events that I can support, reaching out to folks in leadership. One thing that I will also say is like, we may live in different areas, but our communities are often very similar. And my sort of thinking is, if you're under an hour, I'll drive to you. Um, and 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 yeah, I think it is important that we all work together, because you know lots of us are living in rural communities. Florence is pretty rural. I think Marion's pretty rural. Um, Sumter County, uh, Lee, Kershaw, others, and yeah. So we don't have a ton of hands, and so as much as we can support one another, um, I think that's best because we um, we all have to work together to get Democrats elected. I think back a few months ago to um, Keyshawn, who was like a young person in his 20s as well, probably not much older than some of you, um, who was elected to the state house, and a lot of young Dems from across the state came together, and we were all canvassing for him. And so I think we need more of that. That's how we learn from each other. yeah, I think that's what I'd say.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malcolm. Listen, I do have a question before you head off. And I do want to speak on. I do love that message, like you said, vote blue, no matter who, is what Mr. Darius Pickett brung up while we was at our meeting, while we was eating lunch. Listen, we have a question in the chat. Actually, how do you plan to engage local officials to ensure that there is no generational gap and that the voice of the youth is heard and very much considered? I can start with the candidates first. So I'll start with Mr. Nigeria, since I normally start with Mr. James the second.
Okay, for me, I would get the right local officials, because the truth of the matter is there are some local officials who do not want the youth to have a voice, especially in our community, when we talk about ethnicity. So I would get the right local officials to ensure that there is no generational gap, excuse me, and to get them to express to the younger voters, hey, this is how I was able to get by this far. This is who we had. We had people like you and I who helped me get into this position. We can't just stick with the old way. If you bring a chicken bog to a rural area with some sodas in a jug, and you sit out there and you say free food, that this is how you get into the office. No, we need the right local officials to come and talk to our youth and explain to them the different things that is going on. What is their job? What do they do? What do they want to see, and what do they see in the lack of when it comes to the younger generation like ourselves?
That right there, that was amazing, Mr. Hannah. I do really like that. Mr. James, could you touch on this question for us?
Of course. I think that one of the things to realize is that one, um, a lot of elected officials really do care. And whether we like it or not, they do care when you care about what they do and who they are. And when they have a forum to present about what they've been doing, a lot of elected officials, despite what people, may say, especially on the local level, that's where it really, all the good work really happens. And you'll find a lot of people in local elected politics, they really do care about young people. Some of them are working very hard. Some of them work harder than people that are on the national level to get things done. And so if they have a forum to say, hey, if you haven't seen progress in an area, or if you're worried about this piece on your street that's not, done yet, or this pothole that hasn't been fixed, listen, we're doing all that we can to fix it. But when they have a forum, just like young people need a forum to voice their opinions and how they feel about what's going on, elected officials also need a forum where they can also share what they've been doing. So I think if we can create a platform like that with young people and elected officials for them to share also, what have I been doing specifically to fight for you? You have to find, of course, the elected officials that have been doing that. But what have we been doing to fight for you? I think that could be a great piece of engagement where it's not a I'm here and you're here, but it's we're on the same level, we're working for the same goal and toward the same vision. And also, Michaela mentioned the voice of the youth. I think there's always power in numbers. So the more young people that you can have, I think that the movement that we're moving toward in terms of the Democratic Party, it's a lot more collective. It's a lot more about what can we do together. It's not going to be one person. Even as chair, it's not going to be one person. The chair has to represent a crowd of folks and individuals. And that's how we get change. That's how we get the civil rights movement. And I think that's how we're going to get this next phase of that that's going to happen now in the 21st century. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. I do believe in keeping an update. Now, to piggyback off my response to this question, I would say I would touch more on the no generational gap part. I do believe that we have a lot of great politicians who are more of the older generation, but I believe that we are the next generation coming up. We are the generation who we consider as now. So I would say making sure the voice of the youth is heard and considered. I'm around young people all day. Listen, I would just make sure that I would take their concerns, questions, and comments, or either gather up a rally or something of that sort. I'm sure that we have a lot of young people at the homecomings of Marion and Mullins, touching them at the homecomings, questions, parades, make sure we get more actively involved in our community since this is an organization that we are starting up. Now, Mr. Malcolm, before you would leave the panel today, I would like for you to answer this and maybe touch on this question a little bit.
Yeah, I think y'all have said a lot of great stuff. I definitely think there's strength in numbers, but I think the first step is to do a lot of listening. And I think that listening should be youth led. And I think it's important for young people to have a space where they are able to speak openly and candidly about what they value and what they think, and not to have their opinions swayed by sort of like the people of older generations. I think our political discourse, particularly in the Democratic Party, can be stagnant. It can feel like the same talking points over and over and over. It feels resistant to change. And I think young people have a lot of power in thinking of ways that shake up the business as normal. So I think step one is that listening, and then step two is sharing those opinions, sharing those voices, um, sharing those different ways of thinking directly with people. And I think, step three is doing it consistently. I don't think bridging a generational gap will disappear overnight, just because I think there is a tendency in our culture, maybe other cultures as well, to undercount the voices of young people. Um, and I don't think that's going to disappear, particularly in the Southeast, which is, I think, very based on, like respect and like, I think there are some things working against young people in that way, but I think it's about doing listening, um, sharing voices, and doing it consistently.
Most definitely touching on the seniority of the politician. Thank you so much, Mr. Malcolm. We really do appreciate you for coming on the panel, and we hope you have a great evening. Now, touching with the final three candidates, we are closing the event today, but I do have a question that I want to ask the both of you all, and I would like to open the floor up for you to ask me one question, and we can introduce ourselves and go on and have a great night. Listen, I do want to start with my question for Mr. Daniel James II. Data-driven decisions is crucial for ensuring the policies and programs are effective and impactful. How would you utilize data and research to identify the most pressuring needs of Marion County youth, track process towards achieving goals, and evaluating the effectiveness of implied strategies?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Marcus. It's so funny you asked that, because I was doing some data pulling today about Marion County. And one of the things I realized is that we cannot, and this is someone I've worked for a state agency in South Carolina that was a research agency. And what I realized is, like, if you're going to build out good programming, you have to have good numbers. But particularly as it relates to young people, we need to know where young people stand with regards to healthcare. Where do they stand with regards to coverage in healthcare? And where do they stand in regards to how many young people are on or need food assistance? How many young families have access for their children to primary education, Head Start? How many young people live in poverty in Marion? There's about 47.9% of children that live in poverty currently in Marion. What is unemployment? What's the biggest sector for young people? What does housing look like in Marion? All of those things matter, because you can't build programs that reach young people if you don't know what's the highest priority. So I think that, one, I talked a little bit earlier about having youth-led teams or even task forces that could utilize these numbers that we pull on Marion County and where we stand on those issues and in those issue areas, utilize that data, build out program disaggregate based on what people are most passionate about. I'm a young person, and I really am passionate about young people getting a trade or workforce development or industries coming to Marion County. So that's something I want to work on, using those numbers, building out a program based on that, and having young people lead those efforts and empowering them with all of the tools that they have. And not only within our chapter, but obviously we need to collaborate with grassroots organizations that are already doing the work in these areas. There are organizations in Marion and beyond that do youth-led education drives, that back-to-school drives. My church is one. Melissa Smith is another. There are young people that we already have organizations that are trying to address housing. We have, privately owned organizations that are trying to address issues regarding healthcare, especially around young people and family planning, et cetera. And so whether you're talking about Hope Health or you're talking about other community health centers. And so I think leveraging grassroots organizations, people that are already doing that great work, and utilizing the passionate young people that we will have and bring into our chapter, those are natural steps. And so using that data, taking these task forces, using them, tapping in advice from our grassroots organizations that are in Marion County and even in other counties, and then using that to build a launch pad for events that we would want to hold in Marion County for young people. So I think that's how you can use data and drive change in Marion County.
Thank you so much. I do also want to remind everybody that if you are 14 to 36, you have an opportunity to vote Saturday, August 16th at 12 p.m. That address is down here. Listen, Mr. Hannah, I do have a question before we wrap the live up tonight. Many young people in Marion County are passionate about the issues such as climate change. Around the high school, it can be gun violence prevention and social justice reform. How would you leverage the energy and activism of these young advocates to advise policy changes on local, state levels, and what would you play to amplify their voices within the Democratic Party?
First, I will meet with all of them um, and focus on each and every one of their uh, focus areas, and I would also point them in the right direction. A lot of us won't change, especially when it comes to gun reform and social justice, but we're putting our energies in the wrong places. A lot of times we wait until somebody gets shot, and then uh, the city is heard about this one. When we had this opportunity before that person even got um, into that situation where they resulted in death or just them visiting the hospital or in jail. We have to start addressing things before they happen. And another thing that I realize with a lot of people in our age group is we wait until something hits our front door and then we want to discuss it. If we're going to fix a lot of things in Marion County, such as the ones that you listed, we have to wait. We have to do it before it hits our front door. You hear a lot of people in Marion County and people in general say, "Oh, it's not my problem," but everything is our problem, regardless of it if it hits our door right now or later. So I will meet with them, get some ideas. Let's put our brains together, see what we're gonna do. Contact our local officials, call up to the state, write our senators. We have one right here in Marion County, Senator Williams, and he goes down to St. James, and you can see Senator Williams almost every day in Marion County. He's somewhere around, whether that's in the morning or the afternoon, and he's a very approachable person. So you have to sit and talk with the people, and you have to use your connections, not just because you want to get out of trouble, but you have to use them wisely. So that's what I would advise the younger crowd.
I'll tell you what, that was a great example for the question. I really want to acknowledge a comment that I've seen under here. We do have somebody running for governor, and he is Democratic candidate Dr. Jermaine Johnson. I do want to thank him for joining the live tonight. And do you all have any questions for me tonight that you all would like to ask? I'll start with you, Mr. James.
I do have one question for you,
Yes,
Mark.
sir.
I'll keep it simple. As a student at Marion High School, when you talk to your friends about politics or political happenings at the national level, do your peers feel it locally? And then, if not, how have you helped make those topics relevant for them?
Well, we do have actually, it is surprising to say we have a little few that is interested in politics. When it is campaign time for the President of the United States, we have a group chat that is made. We call it the Marion High School Messy Politics group chat. And I tell you, they will talk about politics. They will get into politics. I do believe the question was, how do I incorporate politics onto the students at Marion High School?
Or how have you made it relevant? Yeah, those issues
Oh,
relevant for them. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Mostly I would just tell them, like I tell them, we can't really talk about what we need to change if we're not implementing things to help change it, if that makes sense. I can't talk about the youth in Marion County if I haven't ran for chairman of the Marion County Democratic Party or haven't put my endorsement into someone who's running for the Marion County Democratic Party. I can't talk about the Democrats aren't doing anything in Marion County if I'm not helping the Marion County Democratic Party find members to run against our mayor, or either run against. We have let's say we have Republicans running for governor, and it's not a Democratic candidate running for governor. Then that's a problem for the South Carolina Democratic Party, or either that's a problem for the Marion County Democratic Party. We can't talk about change if we're not there helping it. Like, for an example, I have I have a surprise for a couple of people. I have applied for the United States Senate Youth Program, which is a program that sends students from low income, or send students who are interested in politics to the White House every year. I believe it's 2 people from each state, and I have an opportunity to go to Columbia and get this opportunity, but go to the White House and actually advocate with my United States senators about the problems that I have. So like I mentioned to them, you can't talk about you want a change if you're not willing to implement the change. Yes, sir. Did that answer your question?
It did answer my question. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Marcus.
Thank you so
Yes, sir.
much. Yes, sir. Mr. Hannah, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir, Marcus. I got one.
Yes, sir.
And this question is just a simple question, like Mr. James said. My question is, what can we do as a party to get the high school students who are eligible to vote registered? What campaigns can the Democratic Party come and do in partnership with the high school? Because I know before I graduated, it was a group of people who would come at a certain part of the year, but they just had the papers out. They didn't really say anything. They just had the papers out, and people were signing them. So how do we educate the high school students and get them engaged with registering to vote?
Now, I do believe in local, organizations such as the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated coming out to them. I do appreciate them for coming out to the high school and actually getting us to sign those papers. But I do also believe that we are, as Democrats, as youth chairmen, as Marion County Democratic Party, we need to actually step up to the plate. And I'm sure when Miss Kendra Fling was up here, she would be able to advocate for the same thing. We have to actually get out. We need a table ourselves. If we have to sit there and don't have no papers, or sit beside the people who does have the papers, and tell them, hey, this is who you voting for. You voting for X, Y, and Z. Keep it real with them. If they have some good sides, they have some good sides. They have some bad sides, they have some bad sides. Tell them the candidates who are running. Give them a rundown. You have some high school students who never been to a candidate forum, like I've been to Dr. Jermaine Johnson came to Mullins. Some high school students never been. So, when you talk about running for local politics, which we haven't had an election, I believe it was last November. When you talk about running for voting for local politics, we have to make sure that we are actually out explaining the candidates, showing them this is who you're going to be voting for. If he's getting office, this is what he said he's going to do. If she get an office, this is what she said she was going to do. So yeah, I do believe in that factor. And I hope that did answer your question. Yes, sir. So I do want us to introduce ourselves to everyone for our final time. And I would like to conclude the live after that. I can start with you, Mr. James.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has stayed up. I know it's late, but I think that this is worth it. It's worth it. I am so blessed to be alongside Marcus in Nigeria. I think these are my first time meeting the two of them and their first time meeting me, but we're all passionate about Marion County. We love our county. We have similar visions, some distinctions in our vision and for Marion County, but I think all of it is for the growth and the empowerment of our youth to do something, to get up and do something. And it doesn't matter what their background is, doesn't matter how much education they have, doesn't matter what. We want you to be a part of the Young Tims chapter in Marion County. We want you to help stir up the city and stir up the county to be better as it relates to health and wealth and education in every aspect, just to improve the quality of life for people in Marion County. We are not merely a flyover zone. We are turning to a zone where people are flying in, and that people care and that people want to see what's going on. I think that we can be a city that serves as a model, a county that serves as a model for the rest of the state. But we must invest in this democratic vision. We must get people elected to Congress who do care about the elderly, that care about low-income folks, that care about young people, care about young families, care about getting things done in partnership as well, that care about workforce, care about better housing, care about better business, and just people that care about people. And so I'm excited to be running alongside these two young men right here. And of course, please join us on August the 16th. My name is Daniel James II. I'll be there at Fred's Barbershop on August 16th at 12 p.m. We're having another party and a lunch as well. So please join us. I'm excited to see our young people there as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Mr. Hannah. Yes, sir. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Nigeria Hannah, and I believe that we all are going to move Marion forward. We all have a vision. I want to let you know that win or lose, we are all going to work together because we are in this as one. In the words of Franklin Beverly and Mays, we are one. And I want you to meet us down at Fred's Barbershop on Main Street, August the 16th at 12 p.m., ages 14 to 36. Bring your friends in Marion County and tell them to come on out. Let's vote and let's have a party and let's move Marion forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And as current Marion County Democratic Party youth speaker, I would say I would like to invite everybody. I do know that this live is a little bit late. I kind of got sidetracked with a couple things. And I would say, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I did have practice and everything, but I feel very fired up and energized about the candidates who I am going against. And I believe that even if I'm not elected, I am still, if this, like Mr. Hannah said, if you are fired up, you fired up. If I believe that even if I'm not elected to be reelected to be the chairman of the Marion County Democratic Youth Program, then I promise you, I'm still with the party. But listen, I would like to conclude this live, everyone. I would like to invite you to the party. The party is happening every second Thursday of the month. This will be the Thursday before we are elected. Before we know who is elected, I would like to invite everyone to the election Saturday, August 16th at 12 p.m. to Fred's Barbershop, ages 14 to 36. Invite somebody, tell a friend and tell a friend. Share this live. Thank you, everyone, for coming out, and we appreciate you. Have a great night.